Okay, third video. So this one, so now let's say you've already had conversations with them, you're tracking it, all this, all that, and the other. This is an important thing. You're really just trying to develop a relationship with them and really communicate who you are, find out who they are, see if there's a fit there, find out if, that first, all the way back to that first cold call, that communication, maybe it started through social media, it doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is, what you're really looking to do is you're looking to create an engagement, and you're trying to get like an engagement ring, so to speak, whether that ring is like a call on the phone, that ring is the engagement ring that like takes place, the circle of life of the conversation, or I guess like if you're looking for a wedding, an engagement ring there. But the point is, and it is a bit of it's a relationship. That's what you're doing. So you're looking to get married to a school basically. But it's not final until you get the I do and you're actually at school. So like that's a really, really important concept to understand. Until you're at school, you don't know if the coach is staying there, or something else might happen with the coach or the program. Schools drop programs all the time. They don't just drop programs like as far as like athletic programs, they also drop academic programs. So what might have been a great school 5 minutes ago may drop that program of study that you're looking at. We've had that happen to people. We've had athletic programs get dropped, sports programs get dropped at places. I've had that happen personally more than once. So the point is, it's important to understand things change. You got to be ready to be flexible. And if all of a sudden the place that you were really looking at that changes, you got to be ready to kind of roll that punch. I'm just saying this not to throw you off course, but like that's why you always kind of have to have a little bit of a backup plan, and don't really get rattled, but understand like there's no such thing as like it's over too. Like you're trying to get this done, but you got to throw everything that you have into it. You have to go full force. You have to go 100% commitment. If you're looking for a commitment from a school, but you're not 100% committed yourself, most of these coaches are going to see through this. They've been through the process. I talk with these coaches all the time. They have a lot of questions like, the parents do, like the trainers and the coaches do of these high school student athletes. They want to know what's going on, what's not great about the process, what's really good about the process, what is it like to go through that process currently? Because most of them were Division I athletes as well, or Division II, but that was a while ago when they went through. Even if it was a few years ago, that's a long time ago, And the great coaches at those levels, they ask those questions all the time because they want to know kind of how that look and feel is for people. They want to be able to kind of feel what you're doing. They want to make sure that, that you understand, also that they feel what's going on, and then that they can actually help you move forward. And they try to make that, that connection with you. It's tough for them to make that connection if they don't know what the process is. So a lot of them are also like you, going through trying to figure out the current process. So keep that in mind, but keep that in mind as well, that the process is not necessarily simple, but because it's not simple, the beauty of that is a lot of people, just like having like a big filter or big funnel, like there's all these different like things that people get hung up on along the way. And that's an opportunity for you as long as you stick to your guns, as long as you're organized, as long as you're executing consistently, as long as you're committed to your cause, as long as you know who you are, as long as you communicate that consistently with people on social media, in person, and on phone, and through email, all of those things, as long as you're doing those things, you will eventually, you'll eventually come to the surface, okay? And what you have to offer will be visible. Now, we have a lot of people too that get worried. They're like, oh, we're not getting offers all over the place. Okay, let this be said. We don't need offers from everyone. We don't need interest from everyone. You only need the one, okay? That is the place that you want to go, that is the best fit for you, that also recognizes what you have to offer. but you have to give them the opportunity to recognize what you have to offer, which means you actually have to know yourself, which unfortunately as a teenager is very difficult. And it's very difficult for a parent or a trainer or a coach to truly understand you when the trainer and the coach have 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. Some people have like 1,500, 2,000 different student athletes they work with. Okay, so it's difficult for them to truly know somebody if that person doesn't know themselves either. So they'll pay attention to what they see you doing and assume that that is who you are. Unfortunately, people aren't really the greatest communicators. So especially young, teenagers, they're just figuring themselves out. So they will often, cover up who they really are and be who they think other people want them to be, or who they have to be in a situation because they react or overreact to something, or because they're blocking the true themselves, the true you, because they're worried that that's not good enough. The problem is you want to fit in with the school that you're going to, so you need to be the true you, okay? Don't put on a show. Don't put on your best behavior. Put on your real behavior. And if your real behavior isn't good enough, then you either need to be like more grateful, more appreciative, more like, in the spirit of things, and less selfish. Sometimes that's an issue. Sometimes it depends on like upbringing and situations. But the main thing is if you're being yourself, you're at least going to find where you fit in. And that's really important, because if you're not yourself or you're not paying attention to your surroundings, then when you get an offer from someplace, and it might be a great offer, and you accept the offer, you may find that when you get to the school, it's not the right school because you were so enamored with the offer, you were so charmed by the flattery that you received, you were so like, wow, it's awesome to be wanted, and it is. But if it's not the right place for you, it doesn't really matter. So if you don't have, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I just got on campus and I knew. Well, if they have what your major is, if you're a fit with the program and the coach, a lot of times that's kind of the chemical reaction that you have, and you're just like, wow, this is me. This is where I'm supposed to be. That's great. Star-crossed lovers syndrome sort of a thing of I walked onto campus and it was just, and that happens a lot of the time. But if you need to do the homework though to make sure that that's the place you want to fall in love with, okay? So you shouldn't even be on the campus. You shouldn't have even talked to the coach really if they don't have your major. Okay, so that doesn't make any sense. And if you don't like what the coach represents or what he stands for or she stands for, and or their style of offense or defense, if you don't fit in with their program, then you probably shouldn't be there either. So if you actually gotten to campus, then all of the homework should have already been done, and you should know if you're a fit for the coach, the program, and for your area of study. Now, with all those things being said, if you get there and you're like, wow, I love it, then it's your place. You did a good job, And then following through, another thing to understand is not everybody still has athletic money left. Not everybody even has athletic money. And if we're talking Division I, Division II, still not everybody does. Some people have already used it up years in advance. And so it's finding out the facts. Just ask for the brutal facts. How much money do they have for this recruiting class? How much will they have next year? How much will they have the year after? How do they usually treat that? What way does the coach usually divvy up the percentage of scholarships? There's a few sports that are full scholarship sports, football, basketball, women's volleyball. But a lot of the other sports, not really full scholarship situations. And some of the coaches still use some full scholarships, like in baseball, some of the pitchers will, but not everybody does that. So it's kind of like it's almost like, a lot of the laws are state laws, okay? So it's the same thing like traveling across the country to different schools. It's a school rule, but it's not like all schools have that rule. So it's understand that the specifics of how they kind of govern their team. It's a little bit different, so you got to pay attention to that stuff. So, and then you want to make sure that when it comes time to sit down and make a decision, that you have all those facts and that it's the right fit.